You're watching Inside Durango News, your source for information about Southwest Colorado. Brought to you by Oxford Asset Management, inspiring confidence, growing dreams. Oxford Asset Management.
Welcome to Inside Durango News. I'm Ashley Dixon. State Representative Mike McLaughlin and State Senator Ellen Roberts catch us up on the bills they're sponsoring in the state legislature this winter. We learn about ice climbing in the area from Backcountry Experience, and we visit with retired Major General Kathy Thomas, who will be the keynote speaker for the Extraordinary Women Awards Luncheon during Women's History Month in March. You don't have to whisper in the Lavinia McCoy Public Library in Bayfield, and recently, library staff were shouting from the living rooftops when they learned that the library was named the best small library in America by Library Journal magazine and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. It also comes with a $20,000 cash prize. The prestigious award, established in 2005, recognizes innovative libraries that serve populations under 2,500,000. The Bayfield Library serves a population of 8,700 residents in an area that duplicates the Bayfield School District. $582,000 in property taxes from the Pine River Library District supports the library's operation. But facts and figures don't come close to describing the important role that the library serves. It's a community center, a technology mecca, a community garden, a teen center, and a welcoming home to book lovers who have made more than 500,000 physical and virtual visits to the library since 2011. Library District Board President Judy London says the cutting-edge library is the result of hundreds of hours of community meetings.
This is wonderful for the community, and it's because we have a wonderful community that we have a library of this caliber. We did a lot of the living library with volunteer work. We have people who are interested and engaged in everything that we do. We have a lot of people come to a lot of programs and present a lot of programs from the community. And what this means is that we are fulfilling our mission of providing transliteracies and also meeting the needs of the community, because this just didn't occur on somebody's whim. We did a needs evaluation study about 4 years ago. That's what got this started. And the community, in essence, told us what they wanted and what they needed. And we worked very diligently to provide that for them.
Founded in 1934, the first library was located on Mill Street in an old bank building. The community replaced the old library with a new facility in 2004. It completed a 5,000 square foot addition last year. The expansion includes a community meeting room, a modal demonstration kitchen, a computer center, smaller study rooms, and a teen zone where kids can meet, study, and play after school. The west wall in the teen zone is painted with blackboard material, so the creative can draw to their heart's content. The library lends old-fashioned books and books on tape. It also has laptops, e-readers, GPS devices, and other technology that patrons can check out for up to 14 days at a time. The library's facility extends outside to the living library on the east. It includes a 24-bed community garden, 5 exploration areas for children, and a geodesic dome greenhouse complete with a fish pond. A straw bale shed sports the living roof of grass and flowers. This spring, a beekeeper will place a hive with a webcam on the roof so that kids can watch the activity from a safe distance. The fire pit serves as a storytelling center. A portion of the east wall serves as a movie screen for once-a-week movies in warmer weather. And patrons can sit by an indoor fireplace so they can stay warm while they read. Library Director Amy Dodson says the Bayfield Library is what a community library should be, a vibrant, living, ever-evolving center that meets the community's needs. Libraries won't become obsolete, she says. They'll just change with the times, like the Bayfield Library has. March is Women's History Month, and in Durango, the Women's Resource Center, in collaboration with the Fort Lewis College Gender and Women's Studies Program and Alpine Bank, will offer more than 10 events, ranging from speakers to movies to an awards luncheon to celebrate women's contributions to history. Highlighting the month is the Extraordinary Woman Awards Luncheon on March 7th at the Henry Strader Theater. 4 extraordinary women who exemplify character, courage, and commitment in our community will be honored. Linda Mannix will be honored with this year's Character Award. Mannix is the creator of the Snowdown Fashion Do's and Don'ts and is the executive coordinator of the Durango Cowboy Poetry Gathering. Mannix has also been heavily involved with the Women's Resource Center, spearheading an empowerment workshop for other women. This year's recipient of the Courage Award is Danielle Ania, who created the Jenna Reich Foundation, a 5K race to honor her late sister. Both the foundation and the run raise funds for educational scholarships for women in the community. Missy Crawford Rohde will be honored with the Commitment Award at this year's luncheon. Rohde boasts an incredibly impressive resume as a former United Way executive director, co-founder and current president of the Citizens Health Advisory Council, and former board chair of Mercy Regional Medical Center. A Lifetime Achievement Award will be presented to Judith Aitken, a former member of the Virginia Neal Blue Center, which later evolved into what is now the Women's Resource Center. Aitken will be honored with her dedication to women's rights and affecting positive change in La Plata County. The keynote speaker at this year's Extraordinary Woman Awards luncheon will be Major General Kathy Thomas. A part-time Durango resident, Thomas is a retired Major General in the Air Force and has received numerous accolades, including the National Leadership Award for Women in Aerospace. Tickets for the Extraordinary Women's Award luncheon are $20 and are available online at wrcdurango.org or at the Women's Resource Center at 679 East 2nd Avenue, Suite 6. In addition to the luncheon, a series of lectures during the month of March will feature poets, academics, musicians, and comedians. 2 movies will also be featured during the month-long series of events, including Misrepresentation, which challenges the way women are represented in mainstream media, as well as Iron-Jawed Angels, a documentary that chronicles the women's suffrage movement in the early 20th century. For a full list of events during Women's History Month, log on to wrcdurango.org. Sunnyside Elementary School students were in the doghouse one Friday afternoon, literally. In an innovative effort to get kids to read, Sunnyside Elementary rewarded students who met their after-school reading goals with an opportunity to build several doghouses that will be donated to the La Plata County Humane Society and Annie's Orphans. First, they had to learn the tools of the trade. They wielded hammers, tried their hand at sawing, and learned how hard it is to screw a screw into wood. They also made fleece blankets by the dozen to warm cold kittens and puppies. And they constructed a giant cardboard doghouse that will serve as a backdrop when students get their picture taken after achieving their reading goals. Sunnyside Elementary Principal Vanessa Fisher said the doghouse project is part of a program to keep learning relevant and to foster good reading habits. Students researched 7 animal welfare organizations and were assigned 20 minutes of related reading as homework. Students who met their reading goals were invited to participate in the construction project as a reward.
Reading? Well, I think that we're all rewarded every day when we go to work and we get a paycheck. So it's okay for our kids to get rewarded for the work that they're doing and the hard work that they're doing in school and out of school. So, you know, we always have kids and we struggle. We worry sometimes about kids wanting to read outside of school. And if this helps them and their parents get motivated to do that, then it really improves their passion and love over time because they're better readers and they'll want to read. And so that's what we want to do.
Students built 2 doghouses that will be donated to the area welfare agencies this spring. La Plata County residents had an opportunity to hear directly from their elected state legislators earlier this month during the League of Women's Voters Legislative Lowdown at the Durango Public Library. More than 70 voters showed up for the chance to get their questions answered. State Representative Mike McLaughlin, a Democrat, and Republican Senator Ellen Roberts discussed their legislative agendas for the year and fielded questions on everything from road and bridge funding to K-12 education revenues. Senator Roberts spoke about her commitment to wildfire legislation as well as her involvement in a new bill to protect Colorado water resources. Roberts is pushing a new bill as a member of the Wildfire Matters Committee to create a statewide website pertaining to wildfire issues and forest health. In addition to the proposed website, Roberts is also involved in a new bill that would create death benefits for seasoned wildland firefighters. Another bill will improve the statewide emergency radio communications network so that law enforcement, firefighters, and state and federal agencies could all communicate effectively during an emergency. Roberts lived near the fire line during the 2002 Missionary Ridge fire and vividly recalls what it's like to live through the emergency. The state, she said, needs to place a greater emphasis on proactive interventions rather than waiting to react to a fire when it starts. Water conservation is another area of concern for Roberts. She initially submitted a somewhat controversial bill that would limit the size of residential lawns to reduce water use. After review by the Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Energy Committee, the bill was changed significantly. Now it directs the Water Resources Review Committee to identify and quantify best practices for outdoor municipal water conservation and to propose legislation that will result in measurable reduction in water use. State Representative Mike McLaughlin started his legislative season with a bill that will provide a tax credit to food producers who donate fruits, vegetables, or livestock to charitable organizations like the Manna Soup Kitchen and the Durango Food Bank. According to McLaughlin, the Colorado Charitable Crop Donation Act could end up producing up to $1 million in food for Coloradans in need. McLaughlin is also co-sponsoring Senate Bill 1, which would restore more state funding to higher education and would cap tuition rate increases. With the recession, state funding for higher education declined significantly, placing more of a financial burden on students to pay for their educations. Both state legislators spoke with Inside Durango News and said that voters were asking the right questions about where their money will be spent and that they valued the League of Women Voters Forum for helping them keep a finger on the pulse of their district. Nausea, headaches, insomnia. Sounds like a hangover, but it also could be acute mountain sickness, better known as altitude sickness. While longtime La Plata County residents most likely are acclimated to the altitude by now, you may want to become aware of the symptoms and treatment for altitude sickness with the influx of spring skiers and visitors expected in the next 4 weeks. Dr. David Hughes, an emergency medical physician with Mercy Regional Medical Center, says the emergency room sees about 100 cases of altitude sickness a year, primarily during the ski season and the summer train season, when visitors from lower altitudes head up to the high country to play. Altitude sickness isn't caused by a lack of oxygen in the air, rather it's the lack of oxygen that makes it into the bloodstream. The amount of oxygen molecules is a consistent 21% by volume throughout the atmosphere. However, barometric pressure decreases at higher elevations, and the number of oxygen molecules that you breathe drops as well. If you aren't acclimated to the drop in oxygen, you might experience altitude sickness. Symptoms range from mild headaches and nausea to difficulty breathing while at rest, and the more dangerous reactions of fluid building up in the lungs or the brain swelling. Treatment for altitude sickness is simple, said Dr. Hughes. Prevention is better.
Avoid any severe exertion. If you're feeling short of breath, just with the minimal exertion, you probably just need to take it easy. Don't try to go and climb a peak. Don't try to, shoot your first elk and bring it on your shoulders. That's probably not a good time to be doing that. So that's your quick fix right then and there. Things you could do beforehand is the bigger issue. So speaking with your person's physician and talking about taking some medications like acetazolamide. There's been some studies looking at ginkgo as well, but those are some things. But acclimatization is the big one, and just how fast you go to altitude makes the most difference.
Dr. Hughes also recommends avoiding alcohol and caffeine for the first 2 to 3 days at altitude. Avoid smoking and drink plenty of water. If symptoms persist after moving to lower elevations, you may be experiencing more severe medical issues, and you may want to see a doctor immediately.
As an emergency physician, I have to be very careful because it's easy to get trapped into the assumption that, oh, this is just altitude illness, when it could just be that they're having an asthma exacerbation, or they could have something worse like a cardiac blockage, or they're having a clot in their lungs. And so if somebody feels these symptoms going on, they need to seek medical attention if it's something that's becoming more than just mild. And somebody, especially who has a history of heart problems or has had clots before, they need to get treatment as well, because there's a lot of overlap with all these things, and so we can't just assume this is just altitude.
For more information about altitude sickness, log on to the Mercy Regional Medical Center website at mercydurango.org and click on the link for patient information. After the break, Inside Durango News heads to the bottom of Cascade Canyon for an ice climbing adventure with Kling mountain guides and backcountry experience.
For natural and organic vitamins and supplements and health and beauty products, there's no better place than Nature's Oasis. We offer an experienced staff, nutrition and supplement education, and exclusive products. Nature's Oasis, home to the largest selections of vitamins and supplements in the Four Corners region.
Welcome back to Inside Durango News. I'm Ashley Dixon. It's icy, cold, and often wet, but to a climber, a frozen waterfall is an irresistible challenge. Inside Durango News joined David Paul Farkas and Thad Ferrell with Kling mountain guides and backcountry experience to venture into the fairyland of ice columns and frozen waterfalls at the bottom of Cascade Canyon, where they showed us the ballet of ice climbing. Then stay tuned for retired Major General Kathy Thomas about her career in the Air Force and women leadership roles in society today.
David Paul Farkas, and I work at Backcountry Experience as well as Kling Mountain Guides. This is my friend, coworker, and climbing partner, Ferrell, and we're here at Cascade Canyon to do some ice climbing. So when approaching the ice, I like to take a general look and pick out my line. Today I've decided to take this easier trough up the more well-worn ice. Walking up to the ice, I want to make maximal contact with my crampon points on this lower angle stuff down here. If we are doing a great job staying in balance over our feet, we can save ourselves a lot of strain and pain on our arms. And maybe lowering my heels a little bit to engage these secondary points and make my calves a little less tired, because if I'm up on my toes, my feet are going to shear out and my calves are going to get real tired. When I swing into the ice, I get a little momentum by starting over my shoulder and get a good solid stick in the ice. Once I have that solid tool placement, now I'm ready to push myself up with my legs. It's not as much a game of pull-ups as some people might think. Always give my ice tool placements a good test, make sure they don't pull out before committing my body weight to them. So of course, I'm on belay from Thad, but that doesn't do me any good until I place an ice screw in the ice. I'm gonna go up a little ways before placing my first screw, because placing protection is one of the hardest things in ice climbing, just standing still and placing a screw while hanging on the other arm. So I like to conserve energy and not place more than necessary, but still be adequately protected. Maybe this stuff here. Let's give that a shot. So ice screws come in different lengths, and the length you use depends on the thickness of the ice. And here, I think it's going to be adequate to put in this 13-centimeter screw that, thanks to modern technology, go in pretty easily. Ice. It's pretty important that I put a second screw in pretty soon, because I'm getting high enough to where that first screw isn't going to do me any good if I fall. And there's lots of solid ice around me. I'm going to put a nice long one in right here. And ready to lower. So as I'm being lowered, it's a lot like being lowered in ice climbing, or rock climbing, sorry, where I keep my feet nice and high and wide and kind of walk myself down the ice and look at the line that we're going to climb next. It was a really fun climb today, mostly because it was lower angle, pretty well traveled, so it was easy to get good placements. And for ice climbing, today is pretty warm, just a little bit above freezing. That meant the ice was really plastic in most spots, and it took good ice tool placements as well as good screw placements, and it was a whole lot of fun. And one great way to get into ice climbing is to hire an experienced guide, and we can help with that at Kling Mountain Guides, and we can also help you get fit up with great gear at Backcountry Experience, so come pay us a visit. We'd love to take you out.
And that looked cold. Beautiful, but really, really cold. Today in our studio, we have retired Major General Kathy E. Thomas. She's a part-time Durango resident who served in the U.S. Air Force and was actually the first female general officer in the United States Space Command. She's expanded professional opportunities for women through her military and civilian careers, and she wrote the plan to integrate women fully into the Air Force. General Thomas will be the keynote speaker at the Women's Resource Center annual Extraordinary Women Luncheon scheduled for March 7th at the Henry Strader Theater. So incredibly pleased to have you in the studio today.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting me, Ashley.
And I know that we could probably sit down and talk for a half an hour about everything everything you've done in your career, especially to help women. But I'm really interested to hear what you're going to be talking about at the luncheon for the Women's Resource Center.
They've asked me to speak about their 3 core values which the award winners exemplify, and that is character, commitment, and courage.
And I can tell just in my short conversations with you that you already exemplify all 3 of those qualities.
Thank you.
So I'm interested in learning, just throughout your professional and your military career, what leadership qualities do you think women bring to the table?
I sincerely and strongly believe that there are some different things that women do bring to the table, but I think men and women with that the same core values of duty, honor, and country. I would say, though, I was one of the first female commanders of an all-male squadron, and I noticed at that time that many of the airmen felt that they could trust me. Maybe I was the mother role. But I think it's also, we have this sensitivity to people's needs. And if you play on it, men don't normally come up and say, Airman, are you feeling all right?
I could only imagine, probably not.
No. So I think that that was a success of a lot of us women that were coming up in the ranks, that we did our job, but we also cared, truly cared for our people.
Yes, and it's something that I think you can't necessarily teach.
No, you cannot.
Something that you're born with.
No, and I have also served with some of the best and the brightest Americans that this nation has ever produced. And 50% of them have been male. So,
yeah.
So no.
So in your military career, I mean, what were some of the things or some of the values that you knew you had to stick to help in your advancement? Because looking at your resume, I mean, you have such a lengthy career that was marked by continual advancement.
Ashley, I have to tell you that number one, I had great parents, and we were taught and we lived it. The values that, the core values that the Air Force have is, and I just lost it.
I mean, I think they're probably in tune to what we were just talking about, though.
Well, you know, absolutely. Integrity. Our parents insisted you would never betray the trust of your subordinates. You would support them no matter what, and you would never, never lie.
Yeah.
And when you're going to do something, you should do it right. Excellence in all you do, and certainly don't just do it when someone's watching. You do the right thing, even if it's not popular, and even if you're alone in the silo. Exactly. And service before self is the other core value. You do what is best for your unit, your base, your nation, and regardless, you don't put your personal desires over what is best for the unit.
And sometimes that can probably be tricky for a lot of people, especially when you're trying to advance in your career.
Oh, absolutely. You want that FaceTime.
Yeah, I feel like we can all, especially in the media, we can all attest to that particularly. So a little bit more information about the luncheon. Where can people go get tickets if they're interested in attending?
You can go right on the Women's Resource Center website and press a button, and they have a link where you can buy the ticket right then. It's going to be a joy to see some of these outstanding leaders in our community. They're going to be awarding some very competent, very qualified and achieved women from Durango, and I hope everyone comes in. Yeah, yes. It's going to be fun. So just go online. It's going to be at the Strader. And I imagine you could even call the Women's Resource Center and they'll slip you a ticket. So,
yeah. So WRC Durango is the website that you want to visit. And we were talking before we went on air, and there are so many incredibly powerful and business savvy women here in town. So I know you will be in excellent company at the luncheon on March 7th.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So for tickets, remember wrcdurango.org is the website you want to go to. The luncheon is happening on March 7th at the Henry Strader Theater. We're back with more and your weekly updates.
Thank you.
Come check out what's new at the Ute Mountain Casino Hotel and Resort. We now have single and double deck blackjack games. Enjoy our King of the Cage boxing events year-round at our events center. If you're on the go, take a break at the new Ute Mountain Travel Center. With our valet service, you can arrive in style and get right into the action. Visit us for our Saturday prime rib buffet and our seafood buffet on Fridays. With the largest gaming floor in the area, Ute Mountain Casino Hotel and Resort has all the great games you love to play.
You're watching Inside Durango News. I'm Ashley Dixon, and here are your weekly updates. Plan on a busy few weekends with the Durango Film Festival now underway and Women's History Month activities scheduled throughout March. On Friday, a new interactive sculpture exhibit opens at the Durango Arts Center with an artist reception starting at 5 p.m. Sandra Butler, Jeff Medine, and Joan Russell are the featured artists, with 19 other artists on exhibit. Visit the Durango Arts Center website at durangoarts.org. Also on Friday, the Fort Lewis College Skyhawks men's and women's basketball teams play Western State College. The women's game starts at 5:30 p.m. and the men's at 7:30 p.m. in the Wayland Gymnasium. For ticket information, visit GoSkyhawks.com. You'll have an opportunity to meet some of the filmmakers in this year's Durango Film Festival during 2 free panel discussions on Saturday, March 1st. The first panel, Lying to Tell the Truth, starts at 10 a.m. and features actor Wes Duty and John Rabano, with friends who will share their secrets of how they bring characters to life. The second panel starts at noon and will host writers, directors, lawyers, and others who will talk about the craft and passion of movie making. Visit durangofilm.org for more information. The Fort Lewis College Skyhawks women's softball team plays a doubleheader against Western State College and Adams State College on Saturday, March 2nd. First pitch starts at 10 a.m. at Aspen Field on campus. Visit GoSkyhawks.com for more information. That's it for this week's community updates. The community calendar is brought to you by what'shappeningdurango.com. Post your free event today and join the one-stop, easy-to-use events calendar for Durango. Join us next week for a look at the newest schools in La Plata County, and we'll bite into the real food movement at Fort Lewis College. I'm Ashley Dixon. Thanks for watching Inside Durango News, and remember, keep watching. You'll like what you see.
Tune in weekly to watch Inside Durango News, your source for information about what's going on in Southwest Colorado. Inside Durango News has been brought to you by Oxford Asset Management, inspiring confidence, growing dreams. Oxford Asset Management.
You're watching Inside Durango News. I'm Ashley Dixon, and here are your weekly updates. Women's History Month activities dominate the week, with the first event scheduled for Tuesday, March 4th in Rochong Recital Hall at Fort Lewis College. Singer-songwriter Namoli Brennett will perform at 6:30 p.m. Noted for her acoustical guitar chops, she incorporates foot percussion loops, tapping, and other rhythmic techniques to create a broad and layered soundscape. Visit fortlewis.edu for more information. The first Thursday Gallery Walk begins at 5:30 p.m. on Thursday, March 6th in downtown Durango. Galleries on Main and 2nd Avenue will be open late for art patrons. The annual Extraordinary Woman Awards Luncheon, featuring Major General Kathy E. Thomas as keynote speaker, will begin at 11 a.m. on Friday, March 7th in the Henry Strader Theater. Tickets are $20 and may be purchased online at wrcdurango.org. Latina comedian Gina Brillian will perform at 7 p.m. Monday, March 10th in the Vallecito Room at Fort Lewis College. Her stand-up comedy routine tackles everything from what it's like to be ethnic to a brutal breakdown of the female mind. Her performance is part of Women's History Month activities sponsored by the Women's Resource Center, the Women in Gender Studies program at Fort Lewis College, Alpine Bank, the Strader Hotel Catering and Event Service, Red Willow Productions, the Urban Market, and the Rochester Hotel. Log on to wrcdurango.org for more information. That's it for this week's community updates. The community calendar is brought to you by what'shappeningdurango.com. Post your free event today and join the one-stop, easy-to-use events calendar for Durango. Join us next week for a look at the newest schools in La Plata County, and we'll bite into the real food movement at Fort Lewis College. I'm Ashley Dixon. Thank you for watching Inside Durango News, and remember, keep watching. You'll like what you see.
Tune in weekly to watch Inside Durango News, your source for information about what's going on in Southwest Colorado. Inside Durango News has been brought to you by Oxford Asset Management, inspiring confidence, growing dreams. Oxford Asset Management.